Masechta Bava basra daf kuf samach hey amud aleph. We're starting from the fourth line from the top. We learned in the Hemshech of the Mishnah Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Hakol K'min Gamadina. The Gemara holds now that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is coming to say that if in certain medinas the minig was to write Ashtar Mekusha, we wrote Ashtar Mekusha. If it was Ashtar Pasha, they would write Ashtar Pasha. So everything went according to minig Gamadina. So the Gemara wants to explain what does it mean Hakol K'min Gamadina. The Tana Kama Leslie minig Gamadina. Does the Tana Kama not hold that everything follows K'min Gamadina? Surely the Tana Kama follows that. So what is Rabbi Shimon Gamliel arguing with the Tana Kama? Avashi said, "Be'asid in the Higei Pashut. It's a place where they had a minig to write Ashtar Pashut. Ve'amalei, and he told the Sefer, Avi Li Pashut, make me Ashtar Pashut. Ve'amalei Mekusha, and then the Sefer went ahead and he wrote Ashtar Mekusha. So everybody's made it that it's a kpeda, that the Meshaleach, the one that sent on Shlichus, that told the Sefer to write Ashtar Pasha, and he wrote Ashtar Mekusha. Since he switched, the Sefer switched from the Shlichus of what the Meshaleach asked them to do. So the Shtar is batal, the Shlichus is batal, and the Shtar is pasul. So too, Nehik Mekusha, if the minig was to write Ashtar Mekusha, Ve'amalei, and he said to the Sefer, Avid Li Mekusha, make me Ashtar Mekusha, Ve'azo Avid Li Pashut. And the Sefer went ahead and did it the opposite of what the Meshaleach told him to write. He wrote Ashtar Pashut. Everybody agrees, Kpeda, that the Meshaleach was makbid that he should write Ashtar Mekusha, and he went ahead and changed the Shlichus, and he wrote Ashtar Pashut, so his Shlichus is batal and the Shtar is pasul. So there's no machlokes. Where's the machlokes? Keep pligi. Where is the Tana Kama and Shimon Gamliel arguing? Be'asan and Higve Pashut Mekusha, in a place where the minig is to write Sayak get Pashut, Sayak get Mekusha. Amalei, and Meshaleach said to the Sefer, Avid Li Pashut, make me a Ashtar Pashut. And the Sefer went ahead and made the opposite of what he asked. Ashtar Mekusha, Masav Ekpeda. The Tana Kama holds, since the Meshaleach insisted that he should write Ashtar Pashut, and he changed from what the Meshaleach told him to do, and he wrote Ashtar Mekusha, so the Shlichus is batal and the Shtar is pasul. Masav, but Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds, no, the Meshaleach was just telling him a good advice. There's an easy way out. Since the minig is side to write a get pashut or side get mekusha. Get mekusha is hard to write. So if you write, and he tells him write a get pashut, he was just telling him because it's an easier way. But if he wrote a get mekusha, for sure it's going to be kosher. Because the minig was to write a get mekusha, but a get mekusha is much harder to write. But if he writes it, certainly he's agreeable that it's good. The Meshaleach will be happy. Abaya, it's exactly Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon Elazar, Kulus Vidalu. They all hold that a person who says to the Shliach to do the easier Shlichus, if he tells him like to write a get Pashut versus a get Mekusha, even though the minig is to write both, but he's giving him an easier way out, and he takes the harder way out, of course they'll all agree that it's still going to be kosher. Abai explains this word, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, the makkah to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is Hada Amarim. This that we said early on, just now, that Hakol K'min Gamadina, the minig of the Medina was get Mekusha, get Pashut, and he told him to write a get Pashut. If he wrote a get Mekusha, of course, he was only telling him to write a get Pashut because Marale Makim. He wanted to give him, it was like a good advice to make it easier for him. Rabbi Shimon, where do we see Rabbi Shimon holds of this concept, Marale Makim, that the person is giving him like advice to do the easier way out? So Rabbi Shimon is because the Tanam, we learned in a Mishnah in Kedushin. Rabbi Shimon Haima, if the Mekadesh Hita made a mistake with the woman, Lishvach, Lamashal, the Isha said to the Shlucha, go and be Mekabel Kedushim from this man that said he's going to be Mekadesh me with a din of silver. And the Mekadesh gave a din of Shalzav. How do you Mekadeshes? surely it's going to be Mekadesh. So you see, Reb Shimon holds because it's Maralei Makim. She made it easier for the husband, that for the Baal to be Mekadesh with a Din Shel Kesef. If he gave a Din Shel Zav, for sure she's gonna be happy and it's gonna be Mekadesh. It was Maralei Makim she gave him the easier way out to be Mekadesh. Another for Rabbi Elazar, what do we say? Rabbi Elazar holds a Maralei Makim. A woman that said to her shliach, "His kabbalah git me makim plaini," receive my get from that place. And the shliach went and it was makabel get from another place. We said the get is possible. Why? Because the shliach wasn't mekayim the shlichus. And Rabbi Elazar says it's going to be kosher. Marsav, the Tanakama who says it's possible, he says the Isha was makbid. She wanted the get to be accepted only in that certain place, because other than that place she would be embarrassed. The get has a koil, so therefore she chose a place where she wouldn't be so embarrassed. And if the shliach went and was makabel elsewhere, it's not going to be a get, because she insisted for a place. She's makbid that it should be in a place where it shouldn't be a tumult. And therefore the shlichus is batal. Marsav, but Rabbi Elazar holds Maramakim. The Isha had in mind just to make it easier. The Isha had in mind that it should be easier for the shliach. But if he wants to be, the shliach wants to be matriach himself and go further to accept the get for her, Tava la bracha. So the shliach, it was just manamai. She was just trying to make it easier for the shliach, that he shouldn't have to go so far. But if he goes out further, for sure, Tava la bracha, she's masking that it should be a get. In the Hemshech of the Mishnah we learned, Pashut shekas by eidach. We said in a get Pashut, you have to have two eidim. A get Mekusha has to have three eidim. If there was one eid in a get Pashut or two eidim in a get Mekusha, it's going to be Pasel. In fact, you want to be Shlam Mekusha shekas by shnei eidim Pasel Itzich. I understand what the chiddush of the Mishnah is when it says a get Mekusha. If there was only two eidim, it's going to be Pasel. I need the Mishnah to tell us that. I would have thought to say, since all over, with that klal shtad that has two eidim is kosher, achanami kosher. I would say here by shtami kosher, it should be kosher even with shnei eidim. Kamash malon the puzzle. Therefore, the Mishnah had to tell us that by a get mekusha, if it's only going to be two eidim, it's going to be puzzle. But a pashut shtad which only has one eid, is to tell us that it's possible. Pshita, of course it's possible. We don't find anywhere that when it comes to take out money that one aid is enough. So why did the Mishnah have to teach us that one aid by get pashut would be possible? Abaya, and the Abaya says like the Mishnah is coming to teach us that even though there was only one aid that signed in the star for this alva, and there was another aid that testified on the Ava, but not not as a chsim in the shtar, hashtar puzzle. That's the chiddush that he's telling us. In such a case, the shtar will be puzzle, and you cannot and the malva cannot be goyva from the lekuches. Why? Because you're not goyva from the lekuches only from a milva bishtar, which has two edim signed on it. Because the two edim in a shtar is what's mishabit those kakais, makes the tumult that a lekech shouldn't go by this karka because there's a lien on it. But by eidachot, bishtar and eidach balpeh, it doesn't get publicized as much, and therefore you cannot be gavim lekuches. And since in this shtar we said there's only one aid in it, signed, and one aid balpeh, that's what he's coming to teach us, that it's going to be possible. So it says the Gemara, Ameima Achshar. And again, this star is considered as a pashla star. Since the star wasn't done k'halacha, so the Levi didn't consider it. And that's what the Mishnah is coming to tell you, that even though it's Eidach Niksava, Eidach Valpeh, it's a Pasla Shtar. and they're both testifying on the Ava. Amema argues. Amema holds befedish that it is strong enough to be kaiva from lekuches, even though 1/8 is balpeh. From the lashon asher, it's mashma shamei hish sashta legamni, even to be kaiva from lekuches, because according to Amema, 1/8 in the shtar, 1/8 balpeh gives a strong enough coil, says the Rashbam, to be able to be given in the kuchis. Ravashi said to Amema, according to Abaya, that it's going to be kosher. So what Abaya said that Eidach b'ksav Eidach balpeh. I'm sorry. Again, Amema was machshet. So Eidach b'ksav Eidach balpeh. Amalei Ravash Amema. Ravashi said to Amema, Abaya mai. This that Abaya said, Eidach b'ksav Eidach balpeh. This is possible. Okay, then I understand what's the chiddush. Amalei Amema says leishmiyah. First he's asking, where do you come off saying it's kosher? Abaya says befedish it's possible. Amalei Amema said leishmiyah. I didn't hear the words of Abaya. Kalema leishmiyah. I don't hold like Abaya, and I hold befedish it is kosher. Versus Abaya says it's possible. Says Ella kasher masnisin. If you say it's kosher, so what is he coming to teach us that that by 8 echad is going to be possible? Because you cannot say the case is talking about 8 echad b'ksav 8 echad balpeh according to Amema. According to Amema, it's kosher. So the only case that you could be talking about by a get portion, if it has 1/8, it's possible. You have to be talking about a case that it was only 1/8. So if it's only 1/8, what's the chiddush? It says lo yakum 8 echad by a star. You cannot collect with 1/8. So you want to hakamash one. This is what he's come to teach us. The shnayim 2 eidim b'mekusha ke'edach b'pashet. That 2 eidim. If you only have 2 eidim by makusha, and we know it's required 3 eidim, and you only had 2, will have the same severity and the same psul like 1/8 b'pashet. Mahasam, just like there by a pashet. If you only have 1/8 psula daraisa, the psula is minatera, like it says lo yokem eidach beish. Av hachanami, so too by makusha, where there's 2 eidim psula daraisa, the psula is minatera. But the Rashbam says the kavanah is not really possible. It means a possible minatera, rather it means that the kavanah is that Chacham passed it even b'di'evet, that if it's a get isha, she doesn't get divorced, and if it's a shtar chayiv, you cannot collect from the chas meshubad, even b'di'evet. Okay, so you want to take the haraya that they are combined to be marsha the shtar according to Ameima. The Shoch Mitom Chavrai Rabbi Yirmiyah. The Chavidim had sent her to Sol to Rabbi Yirmiyah this following Shaila Eidach Liksav. If 1/8 was signed in the shtar Eidach Balpeh, 1/8 was only testifying outside Maushi Tztafu. Could we combine them to be Masha the shtar to be able to be gave from the Chas Mishubad? I'll leave the Tanakama to Rabbi Yeshua. I'll leave the Tanakama to Rabbi Yeshua ben Kocha. So before we start in Sanhedrin, we learned that what's if there were 2 eidim testifying that Reuben, Bart, and Shimon, but they're testifying on 2 different dates. One eight testifies Reuben, Bart, and Shimon on Sunday. The other one says Reuben, Bart, or Lent, Shimon on Monday. It's 2 separate days. So according to the Tanakama, 2 eidim are not started to eidim only if they saw together the same Maisa. But if 1/8 is testifying on one incident and another, it's not going to be mitzdaref. But according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Kocha, he holds even if 1/8 testified about one day that Reuben lent Shimon money, and the other 8, meaning on Sunday, and another 8 testified Reuben lent Shimon money on Monday, they both have in common that Reuben lent Shimon, and Shimon owes Reuben $100. Even though they're testifying about 2 separate incidents, and the Eidos is mitzvah. Because they're both testifying that Shimon owes Reuben $100. And the Gemara will explain the reasoning. Says the Gemara, I'll leave you the Tanakama that Rabbi Yeshua ben Kocha. Tanakama says if they didn't see together the same incident, So that two Eidim are not mitzvah to Eidis only if they saw it together. So you don't have a suffix. Because even if you had two Eidim together testifying about in writing, and two other Eidim testifying about the same story, they are not combined. Only if both pairs of Eidim had seen it together. How much more so if one Eid is testifying b'shtar and one Eid is testifying about peh, for sure they're not going to be combined because it's two different types of testimony. Here, when you have one Eid b'shtar, one Eid b'ksav, it's not really considered as testifying on the same thing because the Eid b'ksav, the halacha is they're not required to actually see the loan take place. Rather, if the borrower or asks so that they should sign, they could sign even if the lender is not there, so that the borrower will have the document ready right when the lender is ready to lend him the money. Mashenkin, when it comes to Balpeh has to be done. He has to see the Eidus Mamish. It's a different type of Eidus. So, therefore, perhaps I would have said that it's not going to be mitzdarif. I live to have Yishol. So Shnaim B'Ksav, Shnaim Balpeh, who the mitzdarif. Aval Eid B'Ksav, Eid Balpeh. So we say, I live the Tanakam to have Yishu Ben Kocha. According to the Tanakam of Rabbi Yishu Ben Kocha, who says two Eid are not mitzdarif. To Eid this only if they saw the Ma'is V'Yachad Leit V'Yilach. There's no suffix about it, for sure. If they didn't see it together, it's not going to be Eidus. Even it's two biksav and two balpeh, he won't allow them to be combined unless they all saw it together. Only where's the Safka Rabbi Yishu Ben Kocha who says two Eidim are combined even if the Eidim didn't see it together. And this is the suffix. Shnaim b'ksav, shnaim balpeh, hud mitzdarfi. Two Eidim b'ksav, two Eidim balpeh. That's where you combine them. Eidach b'ksav, eidach balpeh, loy mitzdarfinon. I'm going to say they shouldn't be combined because eidach b'ksav and eidach balpeh is two different testimonies. The ksav doesn't have to actually see the loan take place versus the one that balpeh does. Or perhaps I'll say there's no difference between these cases. Even Eidach L'Ksav, Eidach Balpeh will be combined. Shalach Lahu, Rabbi Yirmiyah send the answer. Ani Ein Kedai. I am not fit. I am not roi to be the one, meaning I'm not worthy for you to have asked me this question. But since you ask, so and he's referring to himself, so in a bittul way, so the opinion of your Talmud leans sheyitztafu that they should be combined. But he wasn't. He was talking in a very humble way. We learned this way. The that the Chavraya asked this child to have Yirmiyah. That what Shnaim Shahidu, two Eidim that testified, one Eid testified and one Bezdin, the other another Bezdin. Malshe Yavayu Bezdin, Eid so Bezdin Yitztarfu. The Shaila was, could these two, but he didn't be mitzdarif. So meaning, what is the halacha regarding whether one court or one Bezdin could come to the other Bezdin Yitztarfu and combine to give up sack? I'll leave it to Tanakama. The Rabbi Nosson says the Yemara. According to the Tanakama of Rabbi Nosson, so here in the Hemshcha Braisa, here we're talking about the machlekes between Rabbi Nosson and the Tanakama is ein eidus miskayemes bebezdin achayiu shneim kiyachad. Eidus is not accepted till they both come and testify together as one. Rabbi Nosson says no, we can learn to listen to one Eid today, and when the Chaver comes tomorrow, we listen to him. So meaning, according to the Tanakama, the Eidim are not mitzdarif to Eidus, only if they came together. Rabbi Nosson says, no, even if they testify in different days, it's still going to be mitzdarif. That's what Rabbi Nosson has. So it says, I'll leave it to Tanakama, Rabbi Nosson, who says that the Eidim are not started only if they testify together, like Tibayla, there's no suffix. Afilu v'chat dina, even if they both testified in one bezdin, but not together. Nami loy nitztarfi, they wouldn't be combined according to the Tanakama of Rabbi Nassan Alakiti Tibayla. Only according to whom was the Shaila Alib, the Rabbi Nassan. Only according to Rabbi Nassan, who says that even if they testified to Zachazah, the Eidusin is combined. And this is the Safek. Is the when they testified to Chabei Dina in one Bezdin Hudim Mitztafi, do they get combined? Avil B'trei Beidina, but if it's in two separate Batidinim Mitztafi, they're not combined. Like Dilma, perhaps Leishna. Or there is no Chilik in these cases, even if they were testified in two separate Batidinim, the Eidus is going to be combined. Shalach Lahu, Rabbi Yirmiyah wrote back to them, Ani Kedai. I'm not worthy of your shaila, she'atem shlachtem li, that you sent me this shaila. Alakach das talmidchem neitzah sheyitzarfu. He says, just your student leans this way, meaning leans to the opinion that they should be combined. So they sent Mishnah Shahidu bebezdin zeh, v'chazva hidu. Two Eidim testified in this bezdin, the chazva hidu bebezdin zeh. And then they testified in another Bezdin, and then it says they testified in a third Bezdin. And then from each Batidini, Bezdin, two, from each Bezdin went to Medin Sayam, then there was only one Dayan left from each Bezdin. What will be the halacha? Can we take one Dayan from each Bezdin and combine them together as a Bezdin? And give a psak. So I live there. I'm not according to that Adam testified as it does get mitzvah. Do combine like Tibaylach. There's no suffix. Hashta Adam mitzvah chinon. Madoch, but Adam you're going to combine even though they didn't testify together. Dayanim ibayi for sure. Dayanim we're going to combine. Elokit Tibaylach because each one heard a full Eidus. Each Bezdin heard a full Eidus. So for sure they should be combined. Madoch, if they didn't hear full Eidus, the Bezdin, they heard one Eid once, and then the second Eid came separately, we say we combine them for sure. If there were three Batidinim and each one heard the full Eidus, and just the Dayanim of each Bezdin, there's only one left from each one, for sure we're going to combine it. Elokiti Bailach, only when we're going to have the Shaila with Tanakam, there have also. Only according to Tanakama, Rabbi Nasnu says Eidim cannot be combined together unless they testify together. So I'll say Eidim Hudalim Mitzafina. Only Eidim they cannot be combined. But the Yonim, I'll say it could be combined to make them as a Bezdin, because each one heard the full Eidus. Each one separately heard the full Eidus. Or perhaps I'll say there's no difference. And we'll say even Dayanim are not going to be combined, only if they hear the Eidus together, these three Dayanim. So on this Shaila, Shalach Lahuru, Rabbi Yirmiyah sent back, Ani, Ani Kedai Shatem Shalachtem Li. I'm not worthy that you should ask me the Shaila. Only because you asked me, Kach Das, Talmidchem, Neite Sheyitztafu. So is your Talmud leaning to this opinion that you should be combined. Ravina says, so was sent the Shaila to Rabbi Yirmiyah. Three people sat down to verify Ishtar. The Eidim testified in front of them. And now they're ready to write up the seal that they verified the Ishtar. And one of the Dayanim who had to sign on the seal died. Do they have to write in the nusach of the verification of the seal, of the hempik, that we were sitting together as three, as a bezdin of three, and one is not with us any longer? Or not? Rabbi Yirmiyah sent them the following answer: Ani eini kedai shatem shalachtem li. I am not worthy that you have sent me the Shaila. But since you ask, so the opinion of your Talmud is that you're required to write that B'Meisiv Tlasa Havina, that we were convened as a group of three to be Mekayim the Shtar. We were there and we listened. And then when it came to the signing, one is no more longer with us. For this, the Chacham allowed Rabbi Yirmiyah back into the base medrash. If you remember, Daf Chav Gimel, they threw him out because Rabbi Yirmiyah had asked a shaila about one bird that stuck his 50 amas out of the tchum, 50 amas in the tchum. So they threw him out because of the shaila. They couldn't handle it. But after they saw how he's being humble and he spoke so respectful, they took him back into the base medrash. Sagt the Mishnah, Kos Baisus Be'am, the Inun Sloyin. As in, if there was a clause, meaning it was written ambiguously, stating that so-and-so borrowed from so-and-so 100 zuz, which are the equivalent of 20 slayim, which is a stira. Because 20 slayim, each seller is for zuz, it only equals 80. And he said 100 zuz. So we say, Eila Yala Asin. So the holder, meaning, has a claim, and he could only collect 20, meaning 80 zuz, 20 slayim. And we don't say meya zuzim. Zuz miyadinu tlasin slayim. If the document states that 100 zuz, which are the equivalent of 30 slayim is really 120 zuz. So we say ein layala mana. He only gets 100 zuz. Kesef zuzim dinu nimchek. He says if he states silver zuzim, which are, and he doesn't say the number that it says was erased. Ein pachs mishtayim. Since it says zuzin, it's not less than 2 zuz. Ksav slayim, the inon v'nimchak. If it states silver slayim, which are, and the number that came after was erased, ein pachs mishtayim. His claim is not less than 2 slayim, because he used the lashon slayim in plural. If he states dakonis, which is plural, so and he doesn't write the number was erased, then it's no less than 2 dakonis. Dakoin is a matbei shalzav, he says. The Ashbam says it's a matbei of gold. Kasbei milamayla. Mana, umilamatam, a sign. If in the above portion of the star was written 100 zuz, and on the bottom, and the lower portion of the star was written 200 zuz. Milmaila, masai milamatam mana, or the reverse, 200 on the top and 100 on the bottom. We go according to the last portion of the star. Im kain of so, lama kaisin salyan. Why is the upper one, upper information written there if we go according to the bottom? So we're saying, maybe later, if one letter should become erased from the statement on the lower portion, then you can learn from the upper portion. And that's why we had to have the upper portion. We'll stop there.